There's 2 at-large board member positions to be elected this year. Okay. So the election, if you're a PDGA member, will run July 1st through the 31st. So you can head over to the PDGA, and there's like a get-to-know thing, so you can read through everyone's backgrounds, what they want to do, what their goals are, so on and so forth. The one guy I want to highlight his goals is Matthew Rothstein. I don't know Matthew at all. So
my experience from this is there's usually like 3 just super plugged in disc golf people.
This is a super plugged in disc golf
and then there's
guy.
like 1 accountant and 1 lawyer.
So we got Laura Noctegal, who's been on the board for a while.
Okay.
So she's a super plugged in disc golf person. Then you have Conrad Damon, who I don't know his background.
You just got to go to his professional experience.
Well, this is all they have, candidate background. Oh, here, professional experience. Bachelor's in English at Stanford, and went into tech. Software engineer. And then you have Charlie Mead, who's been in disc golf a long time. His background, he's been in the World Disc Golf Hall of Fame since 2023. Education and psychology.
Nice.
And then...
It should be clear, just because you practice law doesn't mean you know anything about disc golf. I'm not saying it like, oh, those are the good ones.
And Dustin Schreiber, his background, engineering department manager.
You got engineers.
But, so, Matthew...
What is Matthew aiming to do?
Well, his background, he's been with the PDGA for a while. So, that might instantly throw people out. I get that. He was a media manager of PDGA for a while. But...
That's a lot of goals.
His goals, though... He said his top priority will be to implement a PDGA members' Bill of Rights. So a set of reforms designed to bring transparency, accountability, and member empowerment back to PDGA governments. These aren't radical ideas. They reflect the founding principles of our sport and organization: fair play, equal rules, and accountable leadership.
Just a bill.
The other thing... he basically said disc golfers are required to follow the rules, and when they don't, they're held accountable by fellow competitors and tournament officials. I believe the same standards should apply to our leaders. That means open meetings, accessible information, and decisions made in light, not behind closed doors.
Well, they're never going to like this guy.
I'll work to ensure the PDGA board meetings are visible to membership and that members can understand how and why key decisions are made. I'll also advocate for greater financial clarity, clear breakdowns of how member dues are used, and open publication of budgets and contracts, which the budget is published, but I think this has been basically what he's recommending for. He's also supports the creation of an independent oversight committee, so an outside committee to overcheck and make sure there's checks and balances on the board to help maintain that there's no conflicts of interest, strengthen accountability, and deepen trust between PDGA leaders and its membership. All things that I think. Again, I don't know Matthew, so I'm not gonna like say he's a great guy. I'm saying his ideas he put on paper.
I like his ideas.
All great,
but
because I stand behind. I think that a lot of the PDGA backlash is how they handle when they do mess up, because typically it's duck and hide and point blame elsewhere, and lack of promotion of when they're not messing up. So they have a lot of grants. They have a lot of, they support a lot of youth programs. They do a ton of tournament director support. Like, they do a lot of great things that you never hear about, ever.
Sure.
I think that's one of the problems is when we hear about PDGA is a lot of times when they've messed up.
Because their ads suck.
And then unfortunately, Matthew is the one that's created the PDGA ads historically. But his ideas are great. His ideas are great for the board of directors, because I think that there's just a lot of stuff that the PDGA does that is actually very good. Just no one hears about it. No, it's like very unknown. And then when they are like kind of public and pushing, a lot of times it's responding to backlash, which historically, in my opinion, the PDGA has done very poorly. Of when there is pushback against them, their response has been very poor, which has created this like tension and mistrust, because you're paying a lot of money for an annual PDGA membership, and it feels like, where on earth is my money going beyond like allowing me to have this rating?
Yeah, well, the question is, if he actually were to get elected to the board, like, does he actually get any say? Can he actually?
Would any of that actually happen? I don't know. But again, if we constantly are electing people who we agree with their thoughts and ideas and stuff, eventually the board's full of people who we all agree with where they want the sport to go, and then they have all the power in the world.
Unless they're just lobbying for our vote, then,
if they play the politics game and don't keep up with their promises, that's on them, not on us.
Let me just thought experiment. Okay, I'm running for the board.
You are?
I really want it, really bad. And I keep seeing this one popular media company that does like a lot of podcasts. They talk about the PDGA. They list all these complaints, and people agree with them in the comments. I'm gonna say I'm gonna fix all that.
Yeah, but let me play the devil's advocate.
It might work.
Which is, I think that no one's gonna do anything, so I just don't vote.
Oh, Hunter, dude, you throw away your vote. And is that very patriotic of you?
There's the other side. It's like if I'm there, I'm like, well, this vote means nothing, so I'm just not going to do it. It's like, well, then the sport's going to keep running in the way you don't want it to run because you didn't stand up and make a voice heard.
Probably written in Brody for the last 4 years.
And there's the problem.
And you did it too.
I did 1 year because I thought it was funny to see how. But we had multiple people who were voting for. And to be honest with you, like I only agreed with one idea.
What? Yeah. What do you think I'm throwing my vote? I want him to be on the board.
Well, Brody got like 450 write-ins 1 year, and that was funny. Because they historically had published who got whatever. No, because I think it's very important.
Should we stuff the ballot?
No, because I think it's very important that people who actually can make a difference get voted in versus doing what Trevor's saying and writing in Silas's dog.
Who are you writing in this year? Silas.
I'm not writing anyone. I'm writing down actual names of the people who've been nominated. That's what I'm doing this year.
Well, I'll do that on my alt account.
You can do whatever the frick you want.
I've got 4 PDGA accounts.
I will respect you the same after. But I personally am going to vote for 2 people on this list that are going to make changes I want to see made.
That's what I'm allegedly.
They're promising to. Again, that's on them, not me if they don't do it.
Good point.
That's not on me. I can only vote for the changes I want to see. You know?
Maybe you should be the change you want to see.